Good evening. Coming up tonight, multiple 5 Points bars could be in jeopardy. How 5 Points could see major changes in the future.
South Carolina baseball went 3-0 on opening weekend, led by one of collegiate baseball's National Players of the Week, Wes Clark. How the Gamecocks started off their season.
Student body executive officer voting starts tomorrow. Everything you need to know about the elections.
All of that and more tonight on SGTV Nightly News.
Live from the Kennedy Greenhouse studio, this is SGTV Nightly News.
Good evening, Carolina. I'm Justin Walsh.
And I'm Kendall Smith. Thanks for joining us tonight.
5 Points has been known as a popular social destination for many residents in the Columbia area. However, recent occurrences have left many bars in jeopardy. This past week, 11 out of the 15 bars in 5 Points had their liquor license denied for renewal. To name a few, hotspots such as Pavlov's, Breakers Live, and many more have been under fire for a time now and are now facing consequences. Residents living in that surrounding 5 Points area have expressed their discontent with the nightlife as they are being bombarded with intoxicated patrons, many of which are minors. Many people have had a lot to say regarding the future of 5 Points, so make sure you keep up with SGTV News 4's coverage of the situation in the coming weeks.
Student body executive office voting begins tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Ballots will be available to cast until Wednesday at 5 p.m., in which the winners or potential runoff candidates will be announced that night. A candidate must receive 50% of the vote in order to avoid a runoff. Ballots will be available online at the University of South Carolina election data. Student Gamecock Television sat down with 3 student body presidential candidates this weekend in exclusive one-on-one interviews. Hear more from Aiden Baker, Alex Harrell, and Caden Askew with just hours until voting begins on the SGTV YouTube and Facebook pages.
As the state of South Carolina continues to push out the COVID-19 vaccine as quickly as possible, many residents are using their voices to call for a priority of those with underlying health conditions. South Carolina is currently still in Phase 1A, which includes residents over the age of 65, state and local government employees, and others of that nature. Those with underlying health conditions who are considered high risk have been placed in Phase 1C, which isn't expected until late spring. A definitive timeline is yet to be determined, but the estimation of the rollout has many feeling unsettled. Officials are yet to respond to this demand, and no updates regarding when the next phase will commence have been confirmed.
Gas prices have increased in South Carolina by 14.7 cents over the past week, according to a survey from Gas Buddy. The survey averaged daily gas prices from over 3,000 gas stations in the Palmetto State and found that $2.42 per gallon is the current average price of gas in South Carolina. The cheapest gas in South Carolina is currently $2.15 per gallon. The most expensive is $2.89. Nationally, the average price of gas has increased more than 10 cents over the past week. From a month ago, gas prices have risen over 24 cents. And I have to say, now that I have a car, now that we're paying for gas, this hits a lot different than it did when we were younger.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, back in New Jersey where I'm from, gas prices are like over 3 and change. So this may seem high here, but like for me back home, this is not as bad as it used to be.
Well, I'm from North Carolina and I live 5 minutes from the South Carolina border. And oftentimes people from my hometown will just hop over the border to South Carolina, fill up their tanks, and then head back to the Tar Heel
Honestly,
state.
do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. But coming up, SGTV sports anchor Braden Malloy gives us the details on how South Carolina baseball played in their first weekend series against Dayton. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Recently, the Columbia International University's women's basketball team played their first game of the 2021 AAC tournament. Let's check in with our News 4 sports anchor, Braden Malloy, to give us the details. Braden?
Thanks, Kendall. Playoff basketball is here. The Columbia International women's basketball team faced off against Milligan University in the first round of the AAC tournament, looking for the team's first playoff win. SGTV News 4 sports reporter Brianna Walton has the story.
The CIU Rams had an energizing win versus Milligan University. Here's how it went.
The game would start very tight between Columbia International and Milligan, with both teams making the ball into the net pretty frequently. In the second quarter of the game, the Rams would break away from Buffaloes and would go into halftime with a lead of 52-41. CIU made shooting look very easy with 4 players scoring over 15 points. CIU was led by Zion Neat's double-double of 25 points and 11 rebounds. Alongside Neat, Jordan McQueen would net the ball often, keeping CIU ahead. J.C. Jenkins would be the bright spot for the Buffaloes, scoring a game high of 34 points, but she could not outscore the Rams. Coming into the fourth, CIU would continue to dominate the Buffaloes. CIU would defeat Milligan University with a final score of 93-78, winning their first postseason game.
The CIU Rams will be taking on Union College next Wednesday for the second round of the AAC tournament. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Brianna Walton.
Thanks, Brianna. USC baseball is back in action, and they picked up right where they left off last season. The bats were hot and the balls were flying as the Gamecocks recorded 2 12-run victories and a total of 29 runs over the 3 days. The team tallied 39 hits in total, hit 7 home runs, and slugged an incredible .703 in their series sweep over the Dayton Flyers. And to the Gamecock fans everywhere, the weekend star came as no surprise. Junior Wes Clark went 7 for 10 at the plate, recording 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 2 doubles, and 5 walks. The Gamecock DH was named to the Collegiate Baseball's National Players of the Week list. He's just feeling omnipresent in the box right now, said Gamecock right fielder Brady Allen. The plate wasn't the only place the Gamecocks did damage. Redshirt junior and the team ace Thomas Farr got the win on opening day as he pitched 6 innings of 1-run ball, striking out 8 and topping out at 97 miles per hour on the radar gun. Redshirt sophomore Julian Bosnick also dealt on the mound, setting a program record on Sunday by striking out 8 consecutive batters in his first collegiate start. He finished with 9 strikeouts and allowed no hits to the Dayton batters. South Carolina will take on Winthrop tomorrow at 4 before a weekend home, and neutral site series against upstate rival Clemson, who is coming off their own opening series sweep. That's all we have from sports in South Carolina tonight. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Braden. Coming up, we'll talk our top song of the week and the cancellation of Rihanna's clothing line. So stay with us. But first, News 4 entertainment reporters Callista Yost and Bree Holman give us their top song of the week. Callista?
Thanks, Kendall. I'm Callista here with tonight's news and entertainment. Let's jump right into my top song drop from this weekend. 24K Golden dropped his single 321 this weekend. This single is a little teaser to his upcoming debut album, El Dorado. The best way to describe the track is short and sweet. It only runs for 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but in that short time, 24K Golden was still able to show us the lies that grow in a toxic relationship. Now, you told me a little bit about this song that I just cannot unhear. What is it, Bree?
Okay, so when I was listening to the song, the first thing that I noticed is that it kind of sounded like the song from Panic at the Disco. What's the song, Calista?
I write sins, not tragedies. Okay, ready?
Exactly.
Ready? I'll get it for you.
Go ahead.
Can you make me a promise to always be honest?
What?
Right? Do you hear it?
Okay.
And once you listen to it with the music video,
Yes.
you cannot unhear this.
You have to. Okay, well, I'm so excited to be back on set this week. However, not everything will have such a great return. Rihanna's clothing line, Fenty Fashion House, has been canceled by LMVH. She was LMVH's first black woman to execute an original plan when she launched in 2019, giving her much hope for the brand. However, Rihanna wasn't expecting her clothing line to stay on the ground for so long, unlike her lingerie line, Savage X Fenty. The brand tried to lower prices, but that still did not attract Rihanna's spiraling fan base, and I believe just because she's been leaving us hanging with the album, a lot of her fans are not here for it.
Oh, no. And I think I am definitely here for Savage X Fenty. And when I first heard this news, I thought that's what we were talking about.
Oh, no.
And I almost cried. They're the best bras I've ever owned. This is not an ad, this is not a plug, but I love them so much. So there were tears, literal tears.
I understand. I know you love them so much.
All right, not to be harsh, y'all, but Khloe Kardashian found another way to look like an absolute clown. Her Sunday Instagram post could have been a normal thirst trap, but instead it features a giant diamond on you-know-what finger. Engagement rumors have caught on like wildfire as fans speculate that she could be engaged to NBA player Tristan Thompson. It is also important to note that Thompson is the father of Chloe's 2-year-old daughter, True, and the center of a cheating scandal. Chloe, girl, what are you doing?
What is it about Tristan that she cannot get over?
I get it, the father of your daughter, that's an important man in your life, but oh my gosh, Chloe, and she begged him for another baby. Girl, you're groveling at this point.
Very much desperate.
Desperate. And I hate to call Chloe desperate because she's a Kardashian. She's a queen. But oh my God, girl, you got to get over it.
She's so sweet.
She is sweet.
Well, this weekend, the baby was about to catch a lot of smoke behind mentioning JoJo Siwa in his song Beatbox Freestyle. A lot of fans were confused on why she was even mentioned when she says, "You a B, JoJo Siwa." So here's an explanation on the play of words. Since his real name is Jonathan and he uses her last name Siwa to say the words CY, JoJo Siwa means Jonathan CY in the song. The baby laughed it off on Twitter and then eventually tweeted just for clarification that his 3-year-old daughter is a huge fan and that there's no beef. And I feel like he needed to save himself from that.
Oh yeah, I mean, everyone was pissed. You should have seen it. James Charles especially was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you have beef with a child. Like, what is wrong with you? And honestly, I get why they were pressed, but I also am glad that he took this opportunity to explain himself and get that heat off his back because I don't think he deserved it.
Right, I don't think it was that serious, but he did a good job with that. For today's Black History Fact, let's talk about AAVE, also known as Ebonics. AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English. Ebonics has its own sounds, vocabulary, and grammar, and it's recognized as its own established language. It's quite hard to pin down exactly the origin, but the theory that stands is that when African slaves were brought to America, they created their own code language to survive. Some words you may recognize are yes, lit, turnt, salty, dub, bait, and so much more. Ebonics has been made more prevalent in other races' vocabulary, but there's a bit of controversy on the use of Ebonics from non-Black people, especially those who are not educated on it.
I actually had the opportunity to listen to a fantastic podcast about the history of Ebonics in the United States, and it was so interesting. I don't know if you knew this, but it was actually a subject in school, taught in schools at one point in time.
Wow.
I don't think it is anymore, but it does have a rich history in our country.
I think it's pretty cool that just my own culture, I wouldn't even say that I was bilingual at first, but that's actually pretty interesting now that we've learned that. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's all we've got for you tonight. Back to you.
Thank you, Callista and Bree. Coming up after the break, meteorologist Frank Martinez will let you know what to expect for this week's forecast, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, Gamecocks. My name is Frank Martinez. I am your local weatherman for tonight. And as we go see the weather headlines of the week, we can see that today we did have a cloudy, wet day, but it was very, very warm. And I'm very excited to announce that we have hit the jackpot this week, so stay tuned because it will be clear and sunny. Although, starting Friday, we will have a low chance of rain arise, and it will continue for the weekend, but trust me, it's gonna be hot. And yes, I said it's gonna be hot, okay? So we're gonna be moving on. There it is. Oh, there it is. We're good to go. Sorry about that, guys. But as we see in our southern tip, we have the temperatures today to be around the 60s. And in our northwestern part, let me move my big old head over, we have a 57 in Greenwood, a 59 in Greenville, and a 55 in Rock Hill. Okay, we're gonna continue to right here where we have our Monday. Yes, we did have the lower chances of rain in the morning, but we did have the 61 high. And for the rest of the night, it should be pretty clear of any rain. So if you like to go out, you do not need to bring your umbrella. Trust the weatherman, okay? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, ding, 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 we have a winner. Yes, it's gonna be clear skies, very, very warm. And we have those high temperatures of 65, 68, and 67 accordingly. As we move on to our Friday, we have a chance of rain returning. It's 30%, so be aware of that. We will have that 56. And if we move on to Saturday, we will have more chances of rain with a high of 64. This has been your weather. I am Frank Martinez, your local weatherman. And stay tuned, please, because when we come back, we have another edition of Carolina Canines.
Welcome back, everyone. Finally tonight's edition of Carolina Canines features Buzz. This picture was sent in to us by USC student JoJo. Buzz is a 6-month-old golden doodle who loves people so much that he will attach himself to anybody who gives him attention. He loves to wear bandanas, and his favorite snack is pig ears. This segment just makes my day every time. Every Monday, I just live for it. News can be so bleak sometimes, so it's nice that we just have some lovely dogs.
I know, we have some of the cutest dogs here in the state of South Carolina. I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but of course I think the Carolinas have the cutest dog because my dog's in North Carolina.
I mean, this week I'm hoping I can adopt a rescue dog, so I really want to see.
Fingers crossed.
Let's hope so.
That would be incredible. Well, thank you so much, JoJo, for sending in your picture. Be sure to send in your pictures for our Carolina Canine segment, which is featured on every single night's SGTV Nightly News show. That's all we have for tonight's edition of SGTV Nightly News.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC. And to keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV Nightly News, I'm Justin Walsh.
And I'm Kendall Smith. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina, forever to be.